pod bay doors, please, Hal.
Hey, how come when I went missing, you guys didn't keep looking for me?
Well, we really like to leave things up to God's will.
Oh, boy.
Ha-ha! Roundhouse callback! Ha! Roundhouse callback!
I never saw Roundhouse.
It's about kicking! Hey, Brian, nice place.
The pod bay doors are open. Thank you very much for joining us once again. I'm your host, Doug Heller, film critic and film historian for TalkMovieToMe.com. Joining me, as always, a man who I believe does believe pain hurts, but he is not too stupid to have a good time. Jerry Dean Roberts, film critic for ArmchairCinema.com, ArmchairOscars.com, and OverThinkingOscars.wordpress.com. Jerry, Bloody Mary, some breakfast?
A polar bear fell on me.
Suit yourself.
Wow.
We're talking about Roundhouse. Welcome to week 3 of Turkey Month. And Starship Troopers was on the docket here, but as soon as I found out, Jerry, that you had not seen Roundhouse,
I could have gone the rest of my life.
I was
honestly
stunned you hadn't seen Roundhouse yet.
This is not too far removed from last week's movie. I'm telling you.
And
it's really not.
I love how
surprisingly this is the one with the plot that's a little more together.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of the surprising part. They're about a decade apart.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's Roundhouse.
Roundhouse. The
Patrick Swayze, Sam Elliott. Man, this is a bad movie.
I honestly, this is one of those movies where I was like, okay, I've got better things to do. And, it's like everybody was telling me how bad it was, and I've heard about how bad it was. Roger Ebert was laughing in his review, but I was like, okay, someday I'll get to this eventually, when I have time. And I had in my head what generally this movie was.
And it's none of that.
I've seen every other Patrick Swayze movie. I was a little shocked. I watched this on Peacock. I was a little shocked. This is a very scummy movie. I was shocked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me tell you a story. Way back in the olden times, when I used to frequent the video stores, there was, I was in getting some videos one day, and a lady came in, and she was furious. And she brought the tape back. Not the case, but she brought the tape back.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of threw it on the table, on the counter, and apparently she had rented this movie for her daughter's slumber party.
Didn't pay attention to the fact that it was rated R.
And didn't pay attention to anything except, hey, Patrick Swayze, Dirty Dancing, hey,
Yeah.
It's like... and she was furious about it because apparently she hadn't done her homework, so it was this kid's fault,
Right. I got the end of that. I used to work at a Blockbuster. And
you were on the wrong end of that.
Yeah, I had to deal with this all the time. Just this was terrible. How could you? It's like, yeah, you rented it to find out if it was any good or not. That's the whole point.
Well, you rented it without it.
You don't go buy a book and then return it and say, boy, I really didn't like this when I got to the end of it.
Or you work in a movie theater and people are coming up to the counter wanting their money back, complaining that the movie was bad.
It's like,
it's apparently your fault.
But you just sat through it.
Yeah.
If you get up
all the way through it,
right? If you're all the way to the end, you got what you paid for. You just didn't get what you wanted.
And if you watch the first 10 minutes of this movie, you know what it is.
Oh, you know.
But apparently she rented it for a slumber party because, hey, Patrick Swayze.
Mm-hmm.
And they got apparently they watched the whole thing, and
I'm
because
sure
the
they
tape was
did.
all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't bother to sit down and screen the movie maybe before the slumber party.
Yes, and there
Maybe
is quite a lot of violence. There is
there's a sex
a
scene.
lot of nudity.
Yeah.
There's a strip club
A
at
lot of
some
bad
point,
language.
and and a lot of violence. I know I said violence at the beginning, but a lot of violence.
Well, when I was watching the movie, I'm trying to imagine this woman watching this movie with the slumber party. And these young girls watching this movie, and I'm like, well, I get it. I get why she was mad. I don't know why she was mad at the clerk.
Yeah,
She really should have been mad at herself and said,
like
okay, I really dropped the ball on this one.
It's rated R.
Hmm.
B,
Well, now it'd be PG-13, but
no, it would still be R.
I don't think this content would be in there nowadays.
Well, they probably wouldn't. It would have been re-edited to be PG-13 nowadays.
Well,
they would have
let's
cut a
put it-
lot of the stuff out.
Let's put it this way: Patrick Swayze was at the top of his game at this point
Hmm.
because this was 2 years after Dirty Dancing. I think
Yeah.
he had just made that really terrible movie with Liam Neeson called Next of Kin. They were kind of putting him in anything.
I challenge you to come up with a great Patrick Swayze movie. I don't.
Well,
think...
in between, he was in between his big hits. This was 2 years after Dirty Dancing, but this was a year before
Ghost.
Ghost, right?
But here's my thing: Patrick Swayze was enormously popular.
He was.
Why?
He was a good-looking guy.
Yes.
He was generally inoffensive.
Except for this movie.
Well, I mean, you think about it. He's kind of the magazine cover.
Mm-hmm.
He's got those good looks, and he could play a gentle character.
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't a good actor.
No, not really.
Not really.
Not really.
I like him in Donnie Darko.
Probably could with a good script, but
Yeah, Donnie Darko was the best thing I think I ever saw him in.
Never saw Donnie Darko.
Best performance I ever saw him give.
Mm.
I'd like to say you're missing something, and I'd like to say you're not missing anything with not seeing Donnie Darko, but that's a weird movie. That's a that's a bizarre picture. But this one, Dalton, Patrick
Dalton,
Swayze,
yeah.
Dalton, is a famous bouncer, if there is such a thing as a famous bouncer.
Brought in by Kevin Teague to clean up his bar.
Right, because it was a really sweet deal at first, but now it's the type of place where you got to sweep up the eyeballs after closing. It's like, Jesus.
I don't understand how Kevin Teague is in business. I really don't. Because, first of all, they're trashing the place every night. The place is 20% bouncers. Everybody's drunk or high. And the bartender is stealing.
And there's not a lot of customers. There are a small amount of customers. And so he brings in Dalton because he wants to remodel the place. And
it's a hyper-violent version of Bob's Country Bunker.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you see, this place looks like shit once the evening is over. Because all it is just this landscape of broken tables, broken bottles, and just, I mean, it's going to take 2 days to clean this place up.
The stage is wrapped in chicken wire to protect the musical guest, which is Jeff Healey.
Jeff Healey, yeah.
A blind blues musician lost his eyes, actually. Had to have his eyes removed because of a rare form of cancer. Had them replaced with prosthetic eyes. Plays the guitar, played. He has since passed.
Passed fairly young too.
Yeah, very young, like 40.
Yeah.
And plays the guitar in an odd fashion where I thought he was playing slide at first.
Yeah, it's sitting on his lap.
But he's playing it kind of, reversed. Charlie Patton kind of played in a similar style, but upright.
I have been told, I've seen people play like this. I've been told, I don't play guitar. I've been told that that's a very, very difficult way to play the guitar.
I do
it's
play
very
guitar.
Hard to do that.
I can't figure out how he did it. I didn't even bother to try. Like, I could look down and probably make the chords if I really tried that way, but it would be very, very difficult. And he's very good.
I thought he was playing slide or harpsichord or something. He's not. He's actually playing a guitar.
He's chording, and he's doing solos and everything. Now, it's funny that what is playing in the speakers is often not what he's playing on stage.
It's not. It's not.
There are times where I really wanted to hear what he was playing and not what the soundtrack had.
Right.
And the music, I think, should be brought up because the music supervisor was mega producer Jimmy Iovine, who did Born to Run, Springsteen's Born to Run. He did Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Damn the Torpedoes, and Hard Promises.
Damn the Torpedoes is a hell of an album.
Oh yeah, it is. He was the producer on Stevie Nicks' solo debut. Massively, he got a very well respected and kind of a great producer.
Yeah.
How he got wrapped up in all this, I don't understand.
Can I just say, I love any movie where there's a bar fight and the band just keeps going. I love that.
I like that they actually changed the music to keep with the pace of what's going on in the bar.
They're not doing slow drag.
No. They like kick into good fight music. It's actually pretty well coordinated. And you know, so the main crux of this is bars are terrible.
Mm-hmm. Well, this bar is terrible.
No, all bars. If you look at it the way, because the one he's in at the beginning, the bandstand, is terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of floor level almost.
Yeah, and like, so.
Bob's Country Bunker is respectable compared to this.
Yeah. Because all they're doing
is throw bottles.
All they're doing is throwing bottles at the band. This is, I mean, there are knockdown, drag out fights. There is blood. There is everything you can imagine, except actually people having fun. I don't know why people continue to go here.
Well, like I said, 20% of the people in there are bouncers.
Yeah. So
and they're the ones starting trouble.
So then, Dalton takes over and starts firing people that he doesn't think are good for the business. A bouncer that's too violent, a cashier that's skimming money, and a waitress who's dealing drugs. Another bouncer who's screwing customers during his break. Well, I'm on my break. Yeah, you're still on the premises.
And you're screwing a customer.
You're inches away from finishing on their locally sourced microgreens. I mean, right. It's not sanitary.
It's kind of like and I went through this when I worked in an office job. Is that these women would go and they would sit in the break room and they would talk shit about the management. Mm-hmm. And their excuse was, well, I'm off the clock.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but you're still here. You're still here.
So he makes some waves, and they...
Basically, Dalton is the Johnny Appleseed of shitty dive bars. Yeah. He goes around and he basically cleans them up.
He's He's Hank Fonda's character from The Grapes of Wrath. Wherever there's a bar in need of cleaning up, he'll be there. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I love One of my favorite things about this movie, aside from the cartoonish violence at the end, is the way that they establish and interpret ages.
Yeah.
Because Sam Elliott's character, Wade Garrett, they're like, Wade Garrett's getting old. Sam Elliott was 45 when this movie
Yes,
came
he
out.
was.
Patrick Swayze was only 37. That's not a whole lot of time in between for one guy to be a mentor and getting old. Like, Swayze's would be getting it, Dalton would be getting into the getting old territory too. He's only 8 years younger. How old do they think these people are? How old are they supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ben Gazzara had a thing for the doc. The doctor was, I think, 7 years younger than Swayze.
What is her name? What is her name? Kelly Lynch.
Kelly Lynch.
Well, she disappeared. She was around for 4 or 5 years, and she just disappeared.
Vanished. Her most recent role, I saw this, and I'm like, boy, her career really took off after this. She's credited as being in On the Rocks, that Sofia Coppola one from 2020 with Bill Murray, as blonde.
Yeah. But she was really big at the time, and then she just... the last time I actually remember a movie that she was in a movie called, I think it was called Three of a Kind.
Okay.
Where she was roommates with her girlfriend, and then her girlfriend fell in love with a guy, and they broke up, and it was kind of an interesting, progressive rom-com, but not really very intelligent.
Ben Gazzara's character has a thing for her. Ben Gazzara's character is 39 years older than her.
He's in his 60s.
How in the world... How old... So she got raised there. How old was he when he was putting his designs on her?
Right.
That is just friggin' creepy.
Did you notice... did you notice how long it takes for Ben Gazzara to get in this movie?
Man...
It's at least an hour before he's really even in the movie.
Forever. But you see him right around when Dalton takes his manure apartment.
Nobody would take that apartment.
Because
it doesn't have electricity. This thing is as big as my...
It has electricity. It just doesn't have a television or a telephone. You could put a TV in there. It has a radio.
It's huge.
And
it's massive.
And it is furnished like an 80s high-end loft.
Yes, it is a loft.
Like, this is a nice place.
And what's the dude, he's Emmett, he says, nobody would take the place. I'm like, really?
Yeah, because there's no telephone, no TV, no air conditioning, and it's above a barn, so they didn't like the smell.
But you can fix all that. The place is enormous.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nobody could take it because they probably couldn't afford it.
Well, until he says $100 a month. How's that strike you? $100 a month. He probably spent 80 grand refurbishing the place.
Okay, can I talk about the one thing that really made me laugh? Okay, and the movie was... There is a running joke in this movie that I absolutely love. And that involves Patrick Swayze's car.
Yeah.
He has two cars. One is a really, really nice-looking Mercedes.
Yeah. That he doesn't drive to the bar.
And the other is a shitty piece of junk.
Right.
That he does drive to the bar.
Because...
And we understand why.
Everybody knows what car is his, and every night he comes out and it's trashed.
I love the reveal at the one point he comes back out, and there is a stop sign sticking out of it.
His tires are punctured, the windshield is busted.
No, bear in mind, somebody was so pissed at him that they unearthed a stop sign.
From wherever the hell, because this is not by a road. This is not by, like, a...
This is in the parking lot.
And it's not a heavily populated town, despite the fact that there are teeming crowds after it gets remodeled that needs to be there. in Jasper, Missouri. I mean, and apparently all they needed was...
Is this New York?
No, it's in Missouri. It's outside
Missouri?
Kansas
Okay.
City, he says.
Okay.
And there's 2 Kansas cities, so I don't know if it's Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
But I think it's Missouri.
Okay. But I just love somebody unearthed a stop sign and was so pissed at him that
Ripped
they
it
went and
out.
jammed it through his window, ripped it
Yeah.
out of the ground.
So... it ends up being... Ben Gazzara ends up being this, like, crime boss. He, quote-unquote, owns the town. It's one of those kinds of movies, it turns
Well,
out.
it starts out that way, and then he becomes an untethered lunatic.
I know. He just
becomes a
starts
serial
blowing
killer.
things up. He starts killing people. He's like, at first, he's just a businessman with a tyrannical grip on commerce in the town.
Yeah.
At the end of it, he is murdering people. He's blowing up houses.
And somebody says I could call the FBI. And I'm thinking, yeah, you need to do that.
You should have done that a long time ago. A long time ago.
I mean,
As soon
Good
as he
Lord.
started his extortion racket, you probably should have called your buddy in the FBI, considering that he has local law enforcement on the payroll. But it takes Dalton to come and fix this and clean this town up.
well, see, this is not what I thought the movie was going to be. I thought the movie was going to be Kevin Teague needs him to come in and clean up the bar, and he does. And Ben Gazzara doesn't like it because his people were the ones working there. That's what I thought the movie was going to be.
His somehow criminal element was what was supplying the bar, and it felt like it was just going to be an issue with the bar.
And the guy, the one that was stealing from the till,
Is his
the
nephew.
bartender, was his nephew. Okay, yeah, and that's what brings Gazzara into this whole thing.
Right.
It gets crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier, and I'm not kidding. I'm like, Patrick Swayze in this movie is Wolverine.
He is.
Okay.
He can take anything. And
He gets stabbed.
He gets slashed with a hunting knife. Gets 7 staples from the doctor, and she's like, "I'll give you a local." He goes, "No, thank you." It's like, "Do you like pain?" He goes, "Pain don't hurt." Yes,
Look,
it does.
He sews up his own arm at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. With
Pain don't hurt.
with medical grade suture silk, like.
And by the way, goes to the hospital with his own medical records.
Right, he said it saves time. So, I'm glad you bring up the hospital records, because in it there is something that is glaring that makes this even weirder than it would have been otherwise.
What's that?
The fact that he has a bachelor's degree in philosophy from
Philosophy.
NYU.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that even? Why is that even there? Like, what point does that serve? He doesn't live a philosophical life. Pain don't hurt. That's not a philosophy.
Outside
That's
of
ridiculousness.
honestly, outside of, I thought this was going to be like, one of those movies where they show you how a profession, like you'll see a cop movie and it's kind of like a procedural, or
Yeah.
you see, like a firefighter movie and they show you how they do their job. I thought this was going to be like that for bouncers because he establishes the 3 rules.
Which
You know?
really, rule number 1 is about 7 rules altogether.
Was it take it outside?
No, rule number 1 was be nice.
No, rule number 3 was be nice.
Until it's time to not be nice.
One of them is let's see. One of them is take it outside. Oh, never underestimate your opponent is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Never underestimate your opponent. And number 2
expect
was
the unexpected, which is, I guess, Rule 1A.
Yeah. Rule number 2 is take it outside. Never start anything in the bar.
Right. And rule number 3 is be nice.
Right.
If they call you a cocksucker, be nice.
Yeah.
Ask him outside. Be nice. Be nice until it's time to not be nice. When will that be?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Basically, don't start anything until I am somehow involved. Don't start anything unless he has to leave his judgment post.
Okay, I don't understand his post. They call him a cooler.
Right.
I'm not sure what that means.
He's trying to cool the temperature so that it's not running as hot and angry.
Okay.
That's...
So he's the boss of the bouncers.
Right, yes. He is...
His job is to keep them...
Essentially, he's like the manager of the whole place.
Yeah.
And... So... And he does Tai Chi...
Mm-hmm.
He really confuses the Santa Claus horse farmer.
Yeah.
The whole I mean,
I swear, I kept sitting there going, "This really should be Richard Farnsworth."
I know, right?
Yeah.
And Richard Farnsworth has the same problem Sam Elliott did. Sam Elliott does. He looked like he was 50 to 90 his entire career.
And I'm telling you, Sam Elliott has got about 18 pounds of hair on his head.
My God.
And he keeps pushing it back.
He plays with his hair less than or more than I don't know who. Like,
or the Jan on the Brady Bunch.
Right. I mean, it is just... It's overwhelming.
It's a mop.
Yeah. Mustacheless, but with scruff. So he.
But you gotta say this. Who's cooler on a given day than Sam Elliott?
Right.
I mean, really.
I kind of wish he was the star.
Yeah. I kind of wish he were in this movie more.
Yeah. But he's only in it for a little while, and then he gets stabbed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, you gotta say, Swayze does make out pretty well in this, because he does end up with 2 knives by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
One of them in his tire, and one of them in his friend. It's just... Once it
gets crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier.
Once they blow up the farmhouse, and they have
That's when it starts to go nuts.
He runs down the guy who's been trying to fight him the whole movie, with an earring that looks like it's dangling, but it's not, and it's a cross.
Yeah.
He proceeds to fight him because he is also... This is the 80s, so everybody knew karate.
Right.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He rips his throat out.
This was a plot point that I love, is the fact that he is haunted by this. He did this before.
He did this before in Memphis. He had a gun pulled on him, and he, in self-defense, killed the guy by ripping his throat out of his...
And you just know,
neck.
Come hell or high water, he's going to do that to somebody.
You're right, because they bring it up like 4 times.
Okay, at the end of the movie, when he's fighting that guy by the riverbank, the guy says, first of all, prepare to die, which I love that line. That just... First of all, I wasn't expecting it, but what I really wasn't expecting is when he has it in a headlock, he says, I fucked guys like you in prison. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this line, okay? Whatever happens for the next 5 minutes, you're not going to remember.
No, because you're focused on the fact that...
You're focused on that.
He's basically...
Like, wait a minute, what?
He's basically coming on to him. Like, what... So...
You're not going to remember what happened the next 5 minutes, because that's all you're thinking is, wait, what?
The thing that stunned me the most every time Patrick Swayze is offered up something like that, or he does something, every time he tries to make a quip,
Yeah.
because he has a degree in philosophy from NYU, you expect a certain level of quip to come from him.
Right.
Yet the most we get is, fuck you.
Yeah.
That is the level of his witty rejoinder.
Mhm.
Like he doesn't have anything like when the guy falls into the lake after he rips his throat out, he doesn't say cool off or we'll talk about this later or something like that.
Be nice.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything cool. And the dialogue in this is so rock bottom basic.
Yeah.
That
the plot of this is so basic.
Yet there is more of a plot than Every Which Way But Loose.
Well, I'll say this. This movie has one plot.
Yes.
Every Which Way But Loose had like 9. At least the
but
one
it never
plot
committed
in this
to any
movie,
of them. It
never committed to any of them.
It actually
commits
commits.
to it. The problem is it gets more and more and more insane. I mean,
the minute he rips the guy's rips the guy's throat out, and then goes over to Ben Gazzara's house and starts to lay waste to everything he has.
Right.
Which is funny. It's night when he starts, but day when his car's charging. I don't really know how that all worked out.
And he's got like 16 security guys. And they're like stages in a video game. I mean...
Right, yeah. And I think the funniest thing for me was he has the knife that killed Wade.
Mm-hmm.
He kills a couple of people with it. The funniest thing, he kills a guy with a gun, and then he literally throws the knife and plants it in some guy's chest cavity.
I would not have been surprised if he would have done that with a gun. The way this movie was going.
But
if he just stabbed the guy with the gun, I would not have been surprised by that. Just throw it and it sticks in the guy's chest.
The violence of this gets more and more cartoonish as it goes.
Well, given the setting, first of all, he's got like 6 to 9 security guys that are all physically fit.
And the one guy,
this one guy,
Tinker, his name is.
This guy with a severe beer gut, and they've got him in suspenders.
Pounds.
They've got him in suspenders, so the gut sticks out even more.
Yeah. And
he gets trounced by a polar bear. He gets trounced by a stuffed polar bear.
He's the only one that lives.
And he turns into Bud Abbott.
He does.
The thing is going toward him. Is and it's ridiculous.
And it falls on him very gently and apparently knocks him out somehow.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't even hit his head. I don't really know how all that worked out either. And he's about to kill Ben Gazzara. Oh,
Ben Gazzara's trophy room.
Oh, wow.
This guy went hunting just took a shotgun to the zoo.
This
basically.
Guy, it looks... See, to me, the trophy room...
He's got everything in there!
He's got everything in there. Do you know what it looks like more to me? It doesn't look like he is a hunter. It looks like he goes to thrift sales and buys them secondhand to put up and pretend that he actually did the shooting.
After he takes a shotgun to the zoo. You know, I mean, because he's got animals in there. He's got antelopes. He's got buffalo. He's got deer. He's got...
That's what I'm saying. I think he just... he went to
buys these things.
I think he went to flea markets and buys them and says that he went to Africa and shot them. Like, I don't...
Good Lord.
He doesn't strike me as a person that gets his hands dirty with anything.
This is an obsession. This is not a collection. This is an obsession. This is an unhealthy obsession.
So... in the middle of all of this, he's like, I thought it would be fun to fight you, Dalton. I really did. Why would you think fighting someone who is 22 years younger than you...
and can rip somebody's throat out.
And you are not a particularly agile man. And you're 59 years old. How is this going to be fun? What is
Ben
that?
Gazzara was a wonderful actor, and he is committed to this. He is committed to this.
He's committed to this way too far. He is way too into this.
If you want a great Ben Gazzara movie, look up a film from '79 called Saint Jack. He got an Oscar nomination for that. He's really good in that movie.
Also, look up The Killing of a Chinese Bookie.
And The Killing of a Chinese Bookie. He was a really good actor.
Oh.
He is committed to this. He's not giving a lazy performance. I'll say that, but
he's not giving a good one either.
He's not giving a good one either.
He's fully committed to this as far as his paycheck goes.
Right.
Like, he gives as much as he's getting.
Right.
Which isn't a lot. You can tell.
This is unbelievable. I was actually stunned. I was surprised at how scummy this movie is. I was surprised how violent this was.
Off the rip. How many bones does Dalton break?
God almighty. I don't know. I don't know. This is...
He breaks that one guy with the boot knife. He breaks that leg, I think, 6 times while he's standing there. I think it was Leonard Maltin that said, why break one bone when 27 will do?
Yeah. The Foley guys.
There was a lot.
The Foley guys worked overtime.
There was a lot of broken celery by the end of the Foley sessions.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of broken balsa wood, you know?
I mean, this is... I love how crazy this goes. This is my favorite bad movie, I think.
I don't know if I can watch this again. This was too much.
I've watched this.
I was enjoying it. I was actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
Probably up until Ben Gazzara came in the movie. It's when I was actually enjoying it. I love the stuff at the beginning.
Right. It's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad up until that point. And then when Ben Gazzara shows up as the McDonald's villain, the McVillain.
Yeah.
It ramps the campiness up to
because
dangerous
he's not just a rich white guy who buys up the town. He's a certified lunatic.
Yeah. He's a
I mean he's a nutcase.
And you know, he's very, very proud of getting the 7-Eleven and a photomat into the town. Yeah. You feel like he waits for opportunities to work the photomat into conversations.
Yeah, that photomat ain't gonna last.
It's got a good...
Be proud of your photomat, but I'm telling you, it's 1989.
It's got a good 10 years. It's got a good 10 years,
I'm telling you, the clock is ticking. It's going to be about 95 before those things start going out.
I mean, so... they're getting a JCPenney because of him. Just ask anybody in town. I adore how just not good but entertaining it is, and then how it just goes off the rails and becomes this batshit crazy, untrackable, where does this go kind of a movie. Yeah. Because it does so on a dime.
And unlike Every Which Way But Loose, at least it went somewhere.
It does. It and it goes to about the place where you think it's going to.
And it has an ending. Every Which Way But Loose did not have an ending.
No. Neither did Any Which Way You Can. Now, I'll say this for the 2 movies. You brought this up. We're doing 2 musicals and 2 working class hero turkeys.
2 blue collar
turkeys. The sequel to Every Which Way But Loose is enjoyable and not nearly as terrible.
Right.
The sequel to Roundhouse, however,
is it's so bad I didn't even finish it. It
genuinely made me question whether I should not do Roundhouse and instead choose Roundhouse 2 Last Call.
God.
It is...
I was so bored by this.
Astonishingly awful.
Made in 2006. It was
Originally
directed.
supposed to be starring Patrick Swayze. He was involved in the pre-production. He backed out due to creative differences, and I think his health was starting to fail because it was 3 years before he died. This was released 3 years before.
Oh,
he
I didn't
passed.
know that.
Yeah, he died in 2009. This was released in 2006. So he had started having his health problems. His cancer started somewhere around when this was being done. So he had to pull out. And so instead of they have his character murdered.
Yeah.
And his son then goes to clean up his uncle's bar. It's Dalton's brother's bar. No, it's not Dalton's brother's bar. It's Dalton's brother-in-law?
Because he's Dalton's son.
Yeah, but the guy who owns the bar that gets beat up in Louisiana is the kid's uncle, but there's a lot of he knows Dalton, the uncle, but it's hard to tell whether they were brothers or what they were. Like, I don't know which side of the family he falls on, because I think this is the kid between him and Doc, although they never actually explicitly say who the mother was.
Yeah, it takes a minute to figure out. It takes a while to figure out that the guy in the lead, Tanner, is actually the son of Patrick Swayze's character.
They eventually say it outright.
I want to say at the beginning of this movie, I was kind of giddy because is this Florida? I don't know.
Which one?
Or is it Louisiana?
Roundhoue 2 is in Louisiana.
Okay, because when it opens in the swamp, a bar out in the swamp, and it's like these girls are getting out of their car, and they've got big plastic boobs, and it's a strip club, and you go in there, and I mean, you could practically smell the stale beer and the greasy catfish.
Oh my god!
Greasy fried catfish. I mean,
to quote the riff tracks of Roundhouse, the smell of Drakkar Noir just slams through the screen.
I was just about to say that. Oh my god! I was just about to say that. This place, it looks like it smells like swamp ass. I mean, it just. Oh. Yeah, and it opens and something happens that I had a lot of trouble following.
It's called the thing that you had trouble following was Roundhouse 2 Last Call, because none of it makes any sense. The kid's an FBI agent, or no, a DEA agent, agent.
And they're dealing drugs at the table in the front room, and
Jake Busey is the primary villain.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's not going to be the hero.
When there's a Busey involved, like the quality just plummets.
Let me tell you
something. And it's funny
Jake
though
Busey,
that actually he was in my other choice for this week. He's in Starship Troopers.
Mm. Jake Busey is the creepiest actor I've ever seen. If you've ever seen him in Contact, as the religious nut, when he smiles, it is the creepiest thing he's got the biggest teeth you've ever seen in your life.
Outside of his father.
Outside of his father. I mean,
because the both of them. I want to test a theory. I'd love it to see if there's a scientific theory that cocaine makes your teeth grow, because the both of them have had a lot of substance abuse issues, and their teeth appear to grow as they age. Mm-hmm. And I think that the cocaine and the teeth growing into his brain is what did Gary Busey in. And I think it's the same thing that's happening to Jake. I don't think Jake was balanced when he was born.
Jake was a cute kid. He was in, what was the Dustin Hoffman movie where he's the bank robber?
Sneakers?
No. Straight Time.
Oh, okay.
He was in that because Gary Busey was in that, and Jake was in that as a little kid. That was 70, 78, 79. And he was a cute kid. But when he grew up, he just grew into the creepiest looking guy. I'm sure he's a very nice man. I'm sure he's very nice.
You know what?
He's just a creepy looking guy.
I don't really know if that could be backed up. I don't know of a lot.
I don't know.
I don't know anything about how he is received in the overall acting world at large.
I know he's typecast. I know he always plays the villain.
Yeah. Well, most of the time. But I don't. So the guy's name, the son's name is Shane Tanner.
Yeah.
Could you get any whiter
More generic
than Shane Tanner? And was his name Dalton Tanner? Like, you never find out whether Dalton's his first name or his last name.
It's the most generic, machine-made name. I had to look it up to find out what his name was. Well, this is the most machine-made movie. Honestly, I got to about probably the last 20, 30 minutes of the movie, and I was like, I got things to do. I'll just wing it on this, because I know where this is going, and I was like, I was so bored by it all. Because the plot didn't make any sense. There was something about, all I knew is it was something about the Dalton, the Shane Tanner guy was a DEA agent, and he was trying to bring down Jake Busey and his criminal organization, and I was like, okay, they're padding. They're just padding. And right in the middle of the movie, Shane Tanner does the bit from the first Roadhouse with the rules.
Right. First rule is, and then they all quote him back to him because Nate Tanner, the owner of the bar, is Dalton's brother, but his last name is Tanner. The original name of Patrick Swayze's character was James Dalton.
Okay.
So somehow now his son's name is Tanner, and his brother's name is Tanner. What's Doc's name? Doc's name is Doc.
Okay.
That is literally the only name they give her.
Are we trying to figure out the Roadhouse universe?
I am trying to figure out the lineage here.
You are trying to organize the Roadhouse universe.
I'm trying to get this all together because I'm convinced that in some fashion this makes a modicum of sense to someone.
Just somewhere, so someone, yeah.
Roadhouse 2 is just, I mean, it is the bottom of the barrel.
It's a snore, God.
Oh. I mean, at least Roadhouse is entertaining, and when it goes off the rails, it's just fascinating to watch the train wreck as the whole thing just falls apart. And it just gets more and more outlandish. Uh-huh. And when it gets
the second one just kind of rides the line. It's not even...
When the first one gets to the end, though, I love it. When Swayze's about to rip Ben Gazzara's heart out.
Yeah.
He's about to Kali Ma him, only more similar to the throat ripping.
So disappointed that didn't happen.
I know, and it's all because the doctor was standing there watching him, I think is why he stopped. And then, out of nowhere, because apparently the corners of the room are not able to be seen by the middle of the room, basically the Chamber of Commerce murders him.
Yeah.
Nobody saw a thing. Each one takes a shot, and then if you see, what is it? The farmer goes around. He collects the guns, presumably to then get rid of them, so that none of them can be implicated in this. I don't know where he puts them because he leaves and then comes back. Did he put them in the lake? I don't know.
Who can know?
But then the cops come in, and he's like, I didn't see anything. I didn't see nothing. I didn't see nothing either. And then, Tinker, what about you? The only remaining henchman in the whole organization. Polar bear fell on me.
Which none of this would have mattered because if the cops are going to start doing an investigation, and they do a hard investigation because this is a rich white man, they're going to do a hard investigation. They're going to find out what happened.
Yeah. You know what? I was actually
I like that we're applying logic to this.
I was actually disappointed that this is the kind of movie I felt that the Chamber of Commerce would turn to the sheriff at the end and say that it was a gang of black guys.
Yeah.
Which, the only one
black people in this town?
The only one I can remember is Keith David, who is a bartender.
Who's barely in this movie.
He has 2 lines. He is criminally underused. And he is the only person of color in this entire movie.
It's okay, because he got to be president of the United States, so
yeah, well,
I'm good with it.
He's gotten to be so very many things in his career.
Yes, he has. But he's president of the United States, so I'm okay.
I love Keith David. But Roundhouse. This thing is just massively insane. It is tremendously easy to watch. And
scummier than I thought it was.
Man,
a little more hardcore than I thought it was.
You have to take a shower after this just to try to get it off of you. Like, this is just a despicable, crummy, sleazy...
You stole my comment. I was going to say, you can smell the Drakkar Noir in this whole thing. I mean, the Drakkar Noir and the stale beer and the grease from the catfish and just... You can smell it. It's just... It smells like my older brother's room.
Ew.
Somebody's got Leonard Skinner album somewhere in here.
Yeah, Stale beer, beef jerky farts, a little hint of weed, that
a lot of gator bites.
Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I have for this. I
mean, what more could there be?
I love how bad this terrible little movie is.
Oh, God. You know what I love? How terrible next week's movie is.
Listen, I hate you for this. You told me what we were doing, and I said, are you actively trying to make me hate you? I have at least provided 2, although batshit crazy movies, wildly entertaining ones.
I don't know. I thought Every Which Way But Loose was entertaining in a sort of,
but then
sort of eyesore kind of way.
But then you give me Neil Diamond's The Jazz Singer.
So here's the thing: you have to put Neil Diamond over the title.
Well,
you have to say Neil Diamond and then the jazz singer.
Because you have to say Neil Diamond as the jazz singer because there is not a fraction of a centimeter of film in this movie that doesn't drip Neil Diamond.
Does he sing jazz in this movie?
No.
He does not sing jazz in this movie.
The only reason it's called The Jazz Singer is because
the original
it's taking the template from the Al Jolson, the first talkie, well, the first major studio talkie.
Yeah.
Which was hackneyed and overblown when it was done in 1927.
Right.
And also not the first time it was shot either. I think there was a silent version earlier that was just as schmaltzy as the 27 and the 1980. Somehow Neil Diamond took this unremarkable movie and made it worse. Absolutely atrocious. Like,
because he couldn't act.
Not worth a damn. He
cannot act.
I mean,
and they were trying to see if this would help him start a movie career. And they sold it on his name. But he is so monotoned and so sour and so
Of the
ugh.
of the two movies that you have supplied me with this year of singer-songwriters attempting to be actors,
hmm
Barbarossa is clearly the far superior one.
Well, you don't expect that Willie Nelson can act.
But he's actually
really
quite
don't.
good in that role.
He's actually quite good in that role.
Um,
Because, you know why? Because it wasn't so self-aggrandized. It wasn't so...
he wasn't Willie Nelson playing Barbarossa. He was Barbarossa.
Yeah,
This is Neil Diamond
playing Neil Diamond.
playing Neil Diamond as Neil Diamond in Neil Diamond is the jazz singer. Like,
And also Laurence Olivier.
right.
And Laurence Olivier
In
plays
one of
his
the
father.
most racist, anti-Semitic performances you
Stereotype.
could possibly imagine.
I have no son. Oy.
It's like if they took Tevye and ran him through an anti-Semititizer. And made him more of a cliche. Like,
oh God,
so-
it's awful.
Neil Diamond is in The Jazz Singer, and we're gonna end Turkey Month.
With a surprise.
We're not gonna let it be known until we're ready to drop it. I still haven't watched it, because I actually like myself a little more than that.
I have it.
I do too.
It's not.
I have a copy of it.
I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to talk about it.
I'm
but
not
it's-
looking
it's
forward
our-
to it. Let's just say that
Yeah.
it's from a filmmaker I have never delved into for specific and blatant reasons, and you are making me go against that. And
We are after that going to skate into December.
yes, with my first pick, a commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor with Fred Zinnemann's From Here to Eternity. We're following up the worst month possible with a really wonderful movie.
Yeah, talking about From Here to
From Here to
Eternity.
Eternity, based on the day of the bombing. What are we doing after that? I lost track of your
After
picks.
that,
I
we
have them all
have-
written down, but I don't.
After that, we have our annual holiday 4-pack. This year, we're talking about horror films, and I will the 4 are TBA to be announced. But we do this every year. We do a holiday 4-pack. First year we did the modern classics. Last year we did the classics. This year we're doing horror movies.
Yeah, and what's
And
your
so-
other pick?
We're also talking about Santa Claus the
Asshole.
movie. Have you seen this?
Yes.
It's actually half of a good movie. It actually is half of a good movie. It's like
Which half? Is it the half
this-
that I haven't seen? Because
the way the guy becomes Santa Claus is actually pretty great.
this is the Dudley Moore stinker from 1985.
5.
And again, I'll say this. In terms of Dudley Moore movies, at least you're not making me watch Arthur 2 on the Rocks.
Well, I'll say this: the private agenda is it's really just an excuse to talk about John Lithgow because I love John Lithgow. And
There
he's so
are
funny.
millions of other choices!
But he doesn't ever do a Christmas movie, and this was better than One Magic Christmas. I watched that recently. Have you ever seen One Magic Christmas?
No, I have not.
It's basically the universe shits on Mary Steenburgen, and I was thinking, okay, well, this looks like an interesting movie. It comes from Disney. No, the world just kind of shits on her, and basically she loses her faith in Christmas. It is the most sour, glum, ugly, hateful movie I've ever seen, with a guardian angel played by Harry Dean Stanton, no less.
That is not a guardian angel you want.
That's not a guardian angel you want.
And my have I made my other pick? Did I tell you what my
I don't
other
think
pick
so.
was? I thought I did just recently. Hang on. I don't even know anymore. Oh, your other. Oh, so we're not doing the gay
No.
Christmas. I'll delete those. Night of the Hunter.
Night of the Hunter. Okay.
Because the guy stole the money. The kid's father stole the money on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
So I've made that my Christmas movie for the
Christmas movies are getting harder and harder to find because it's like, what do you talk about? And I've covered all of that stuff in. I've covered all this. Yeah, what do you talk about? Because they're all the same. What are you talking
except the ones that aren't. That
Except the ones that aren't.
A Christmas Story and Home Alone and Elf and
we've covered those.
exactly. So yeah, when I was going through, I literally did a search. I Google searched Christmas noir in an attempt to find something that was Christmassy but dark, but also good because.
And I dropped on Santa Claus the movie only because it was like, okay, hey, Santa Claus. And I can't find another Santa Claus movie that isn't a complete pile. And I'm watching this.
Remarkably, the Tim Allen, the Santa Claus, where he takes over, isn't a terrible movie.
You know, I never saw that. You know why? Because it's a Tim Allen Santa Claus movie.
Right. It has all the markers of it being particularly atrocious. The sequels are I've seen parts of the sequels. The first one was watchable. It's a Walt Disney comedy from the 90s. Exactly,
I can't.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to expect from it. Arthur Christmas is probably the only decent contemporary Christmas movie with Santa that isn't just the same.
Okay, so we may not write Santa Claus the movie in stone because I am having the hardest time finding another movie to talk about. It's Christmas. We've talked about It's a Wonderful Life and A Christmas Story. And we've talked about Home Alone, and we talked about all the perennials. We talked about Elf. We talked about Eyes Wide Shut. We talked about what was that? What was the Santa zombie movie that you picked?
Rare Exports.
We've talked about that. We've talked about Cancer Christmas. You talked about Christmas Tale.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to talk about.
We've even done Fanny and Alexander.
And we did Scrooge.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know what else to talk. We did Carol.
Yeah.
What else to talk about? We did Gay Christmas.
We did do Gay Christmas. You know, that's why I like exploring the movies that are set at Christmas but don't actually have anything to do with Christmas. Like Eyes Wide Shut. We did that one too.
Took place at Christmas.
Yeah. So that's what I tend to look for now is
yeah, I am too.
Things that take place at Christmas that are either not celebratory of Christmas or revolve around the family coming together when they really shouldn't. like the Cancer Christmas, a Christmas Tale.
Was Home for the Holidays, that Jodie Foster movie? Was that?
It's Holly Hunt. It's Holly Hunter.
Oh,
Jodie Foster directed it, and that's about Thanksgiving, not Christmas.
Thanksgiving, okay, not Christmas, okay. Because I've been trying to find something, and it was like everything I find is just.
I found one that I really wanted to do. I'd never seen it before, but it's not available anywhere. It's from like 1978. I can't even remember the name of it, but it was like a crime movie. The only one that I want to do that'll probably be next year now, is Bad Santa.
Never seen it.
I recommend that one.
I like Billy Bob.
Yeah. And that one, it was written by the Coen brothers and directed by Terry Zwigoff. So Ghost World and Crumb meet the Coen brothers with Billy Bob Thornton. It's it's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
I liked that one. I saw that one in the theaters. But that's what we have.
Maybe you know what? That may have been the longest coming up segment that we've ever done on this show.
It might have been. It might have been.
I think we're working on our schedule more than anything else.
But that wraps it up here for us. You can find all of our back episodes at the podbaydoorspodcast.wordpress.com. You can listen to us on iTunes and YouTube. You can hit the like, subscribe, notifications, all of that kind of stuff. Greatly appreciate it. You can find us on Twitter at pod_bay. If you copy and paste that and go over to Patreon, that's our same handle over there. We do have some member-exclusive episodes up there currently. We encourage you to check those out. We thank you so very much for joining us, and the Pod Bay doors are now closed.
The mission has been completed.
So you played pretty good for a blind white boy.
Yeah, and I thought you'd be bigger.
All DVDs are $1 and everything must go. Come on in.
Oh my God, Roundhouse! I want to buy this.
Great. And as a bonus, I'll throw in What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams.
No, thank you.
No charge.
I do not want it.
But it's free, sir.
If that DVD even touches Roundhouse, I will kill you.
Don't worry. Someday someone will come and take you home for their very own.
Maybe far away, or maybe real nearby. He may be pouring her coffee, she may be straightening his tie.
Help! Somebody! These drunk redneck truckers are trying to have their way with me!
Not while my scrotum is pressed up against my stomach in these jeans, they won't. Roundhouse.
That was awesome, and its message is timeless.
Peter, the only message in that movie is that every problem in life can be solved by kicking.
Oh my God. Brian, you're right.
Peter, I'm joking.
What did you say to me?
Peter, what are you doing?
Get off my plane.
That's not even the same. Oh! What the hell?
Not gonna talk to me like that in my bar.
Not a bar. Oh!
Oh, that's right. Cleveland moved.
Here's your burger, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I need another $1.25.
Is that right? Keep the change. Roundhouse. Okay, that is the last time you are gonna pull that crap. You hear me?
Yes!
Do you hear me?
Yes!
Now you are gonna hold down that football until Charlie Brown kicks it. You got that?
Yes!
Now go ahead, Charlie.
Yay!
And you know what else? I did some checking around. You're not a licensed therapist. Roundhouse.
You know, it's still early, Peter. What do you say we horse around a little, huh?
I think I can get on board with that.
Ow!
Roundhouse.
Peter, for God's sakes, if you're gonna do that, at least aim for my breasts. Oh, yeah!
Roundhouse.
Peter, I don't think you should be driving with your feet.
Roundhouse.
Wait, why are you taking the back way home? There are so many turns.
Roundhouse. 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 Roundhouse.
Peter, we've had complaints from all over town. You're gonna have to stop with the kicking.
Oh, yeah? I think my scary, otherworldly, shadowy spirit friends might have something to say about that. Ghost.